Let's move on to Princess Kate's mom, otherwise known as Super Granny, Carole Middleton. Kate Middleton's mother isn't the royal family member you think she is. I'd just like to say that Carole and I are absolutely delighted by today's announcement and thrilled at the prospect of a wedding sometime next year. For decades, the British royal family has been a fortress of secrecy. But now, the walls are cracking. At 70, Carole Middleton has shattered the silence, and her words have sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. Queen Camilla, long a figure of controversy, is once again at the heart of a royal storm. What secrets have been hidden behind closed doors? What power struggles have shaped the future queen consort's reign? The battle for the monarchy's soul is more intense than ever, and this revelation changes everything. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear will shake the very foundations of the royal family. For years, Carole Middleton had perfected the delicate art of remaining in the shadows. A steadfast presence, she had navigated the world of royalty with unshakable grace. Never too vocal, never overstepping, yet always an undeniable force. She had learned the rules of the game, mastering the balance between support and discretion. But when she finally broke her silence against Queen Camilla, the revelation sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace. This was not a whispered tabloid rumor, nor was it a fleeting scandal designed to capture momentary headlines. It was an eruption of long-buried tensions, a revelation that exposed a power struggle simmering beneath the surface for years. Carole Middleton was left deeply upset by the collapse of her mail-order business. The monarchy had weathered many storms: infidelity, financial scandals, even public betrayals. But this was different. Carole's voice carried weight, her words shattering the carefully constructed facade of royal unity. For those who had followed the monarchy closely, the tension had always been there. Carole and Camilla had stood side by side at royal events, their smiles masking a silent battle of influence. But beneath the polished exteriors, their worlds had been destined for collision from the moment Kate Middleton became a contender for the future Queen of England. And now, at 70, Carole had finally spoken. What had long been an unspoken battle. For control had erupted into the public eye, a feud years in the making. To understand the gravity of Carole's revelation, one must look back to the moment Kate Middleton became part of the royal equation. At first glance, Carole and Camilla seemed to exist in different realms, their only connection forged by their children's union. But their differences ran far deeper than lineage. Camilla had been raised within the aristocracy, where class and pedigree dictated one's place in society. She understood the silent codes of royal life, the unspoken rules that determined who truly belonged. Carole, on the other hand, had built everything from the ground up. A self-made success, she'd ensured her children had the best opportunities despite their so-called middle-class background. She was not born into royalty, but she possessed something far more powerful: resilience, ambition, and an unwavering vision for her daughter's future. From the very beginning, Camilla had cast doubts on Kate's suitability for royal life. While never openly hostile, her quiet dismissals and veiled criticisms sent a clear message. Kate was not one of them. There were murmurs within palace walls that Camilla had questioned Kate's ability to bear the weight of royal expectations, subtly implying that she lacked the refinement necessary to stand beside William as queen. Carole, always observant, took note of every slight, every calculated move that sought to diminish Kate's place. Yet she remained silent, choosing to play the long game, ensuring that her daughter's position within the monarchy remained unshakable. But silence never equated to surrender. As the years passed, the tension only deepened, the lines had been drawn, and neither woman was willing to yield. No figure loomed larger over the royal family than the late Princess Diana. Though she had long since passed, her presence remained indelibly woven into the monarchy's legacy. Her influence shaped public perception, her memory haunting the very institution that had once sought to silence her. But no one bore the weight of Diana's lingering presence more than Camilla. For decades, Camilla had struggled to shake off the stigma of being the other woman. She had spent years repairing her reputation, slowly transitioning from royal mistress to queen consort. Yet despite her efforts, the public's devotion to Diana remained unyielding. No matter how many royal engagements she attended, or how deeply entrenched she became within the institution, she could never escape Diana's shadow. Then came Kate Middleton. From the moment she stepped into the spotlight, the comparisons to Diana were unavoidable. Her warmth, her effortless grace, her ability to connect with people, it all echoed Diana's legacy. The public saw in Kate what they had once seen in Diana, a woman who was more than just a royal, but a symbol of elegance and relatability. Carole Middleton, having witnessed the monarchy's treatment of Diana firsthand, understood the dangers ahead. She knew how the institution had isolated and reshaped Diana, molding her into something unrecognizable before ultimately discarding her. And she was determined that her daughter would not suffer the same fate. Camilla, however, saw things differently. While Diana had been adored by the public but rejected by the establishment, Camilla had fought tooth and nail to gain acceptance. And she wasn't about to let Kate, with her natural charisma and growing influence, overshadow her. This was not just about personal rivalries, it was a battle for legacy, a fight to determine whose influence would shape the next era of the monarchy. The silent battle for power. Carole Middleton had never sought the spotlight, but that did not mean she was without influence. From the moment Kate entered the royal fold, Carole had been a silent but strategic force behind the scenes. She understood that the monarchy was not just about tradition, it was about perception, influence, and control. Camilla, too, had mastered the art of palace politics. She had spent years cultivating alliances within aristocratic circles, ensuring her place at King Charles's side was undisputed. She knew how to maneuver within the system, influencing decisions without ever appearing to interfere. But unlike Carole, Camilla did not have a direct connection to the future king and queen. While she worked from within the institution, Carole wielded her power from the outside, shaping Kate's role, curating public perception, and ensuring that her daughter was no mere accessory to the crown. It was a silent war, a battle fought not through open confrontation but through influence and maneuvering, and neither woman was prepared to lose. For years, Queen Camilla had mastered the art of quiet dominance, a power that didn't require open confrontation but was delivered in whispers, gestures, and calculated moves. Her authority wasn't about grand declarations, it was about influence, wielded with precision, especially when it came to Kate Middleton. At royal gatherings, Camilla knew exactly how to establish her presence without saying a word. The way she positioned herself in photographs, the people she chose to acknowledge, and the fleeting, seemingly harmless remarks she made, all of it carried a deeper, unspoken message. Royal insiders claimed that Camilla had spent decades learning how to manipulate the unspoken rules of the monarchy. And when Kate entered the royal fold, she wasn't about to make her transition an easy one. She made sure Kate understood her place, not as a rising queen in waiting, but as an outsider who had married into an institution with rigid traditions. While the world saw them standing side by side at royal events, those who paid attention noticed the micro-expressions, the subtle smirks, the carefully placed pauses in conversation. The way Camilla's words, though seemingly polite, always carried a sharp edge. Carole Middleton, however, wasn't easily fooled. She had an instinct for reading between the lines, for sensing when her daughter was being undermined. She noticed how Camilla's presence could shift the energy in a room, how the air thickened when Kate was subtly dismissed. The jabs weren't always obvious, but Carole saw them all. A patronizing smile here, a condescending remark there. Some royal. Commentators dismissed these interactions as mere coincidence, but those close to Carole knew better. This was an attempt to remind Kate, and by extension, the Middletons, that they would never truly belong. But Carole wasn't one to react impulsively. She understood that power was not about responding to every slight, but about waiting for the right moment. She remained composed, silently observing, knowing that soon enough, an opportunity would come when she could push back in a way that truly mattered. That moment arrived when the grand wedding plans began, setting the stage for a battle far bigger than either woman had anticipated. The world saw Kate and William's wedding as a fairy tale spectacle, a seamless blend of love, history, and royal tradition. William Arthur Philip Lewis, wilt thou have this woman to thy wedded wife? But behind the grandeur was a silent war between two formidable women, each determined to shape the narrative of the future queen's ascension. For Carole, the wedding wasn't just a royal event, it was a defining moment for her daughter. She wanted Kate's wedding to reflect warmth, authenticity, and the values that had shaped her life. This wasn't just about adhering to outdated customs, it was about ensuring Kate had control over a day that would forever be etched in history. Camilla, however, saw the wedding as something else entirely, a demonstration of royal order, where centuries-old traditions took precedence over sentiment. The tension between the two women reached a peak during the wedding preparations. Insiders reported that Carole and Camilla clashed behind the scenes, with Carole advocating for personal touches that reflected the Middleton family's presence, while Camilla pushed for strict adherence to royal protocol. One particularly heated disagreement arose when Camilla allegedly insisted on limiting the number of non-royal guests, a move that would have reduced the visibility of Kate's family. She knew how the institution had isolated and reshaped Diana, molding her into something unrecognizable before ultimately discarding her, and she was determined that her daughter would not suffer the same fate. Camilla, however, saw things differently. While Diana had been adored by the public but rejected by the establishment, Camilla had fought tooth and nail to gain acceptance, and she wasn't about to let Kate, with her natural charisma and growing influence, overshadow her. This was not just about personal rivalries. It was a battle for legacy, a fight to determine whose influence would shape the next era of the monarchy. The silent battle for power. Carole Middleton had never sought the spotlight, but that did not mean she was without influence. From the moment Kate entered the royal fold, Carole had been a silent but strategic force behind the scenes. She understood that the monarchy was not just about tradition, it was about perception, influence, and control. Camilla, too, had mastered the art of palace politics. She had spent years cultivating alliances within aristocratic circles, ensuring her place at King Charles's side was undisputed. She knew how to maneuver within the system, influencing decisions without ever appearing to interfere. But unlike Carole, Camilla did not have a direct connection to the future king and queen. While she worked from within the institution, Carole wielded her power from the outside, shaping Kate's role, curating public perception, and ensuring that her daughter was no mere accessory to the crown. It was a silent war, a battle fought not through open confrontation, but through influence and maneuvering. And neither woman was prepared to lose. For years, Queen Camilla had mastered the art of quiet dominance, a power that didn't require open confrontation, but was delivered in whispers, gestures, and calculated moves. Her authority wasn't about grand declarations. It was about influence wielded with precision, especially when it came to Kate Middleton. At royal gatherings, Camilla knew exactly how to establish her presence without saying a word. The way she positioned herself in photographs, the people she chose to acknowledge, and the fleeting, seemingly harmless remarks she made, all of it carried a deeper, unspoken message. Royal insiders claimed that Camilla had spent decades learning how to manipulate the unspoken rules of the monarchy, and when Kate entered the royal fold, she wasn't about to make her transition an easy one. She made sure Kate understood her place, not as a rising queen-in-waiting, but as an outsider who had married into an institution with rigid traditions. While the world saw them standing side by side at royal events, those who paid attention noticed the micro-expressions, the subtle smirks, the carefully placed pauses in conversation, the way Camilla's words, though seemingly polite, always carried a sharp edge. Carole Middleton, however, wasn't easily fooled. She had an instinct for reading between the lines, for sensing when her daughter was being undermined. She noticed how Camilla's presence could shift the energy in a room, how the air thickened when Kate was subtly dismissed. The jabs weren't always obvious, but Carole saw them all. A patronizing smile here, a condescending remark there. Some royal commentators dismissed these interactions as mere coincidence, but those close to Carole knew better. This was an attempt to remind Kate, and by extension, the Middletons, that they would never truly belong. But Carole wasn't one to react impulsively. She understood that power was not about responding to every slight, but about waiting for the right moment. She remained composed, silently observing, knowing that soon enough, an opportunity would come when she could push back, in a way that truly mattered. That moment arrived when the grand wedding plans began, setting the stage for a battle far bigger than either woman had anticipated. The world saw Kate and William's wedding as a fairy tale spectacle, a seamless blend of love, history, and royal tradition. William Arthur Philip Lewis, wilt thou have this woman to thy wedded wife? But behind the grandeur was a silent war between two formidable women, each determined to shape the narrative of the future queen's ascension. For Carole, the wedding wasn't just a royal event. It was a defining moment for her daughter. She wanted Kate's wedding to reflect warmth, authenticity, and the values that had shaped her life. This wasn't just about adhering to outdated customs. It was about ensuring Kate had control over a day that would forever be etched in history. Camilla, however, saw the wedding as something else entirely, a demonstration of royal order where centuries-old traditions took precedence over sentiment. The tension between the two women reached a peak during the wedding preparations. Insiders reported that Carole and Camilla clashed behind the scenes, with Carole advocating for personal touches that reflected the Middleton family's presence, while Camilla pushed for strict adherence to royal protocol. One particularly heated disagreement arose when Camilla allegedly insisted on limiting the number of non-royal guests, a move that would have reduced the visibility of Kate's family. Her words had an unexpected effect. They reignited scrutiny of Camilla's controversial past, a history the monarchy had worked tirelessly to bury. Long before she ascended to her role as queen consort, Camilla's name had been linked to scandal and whispers of betrayal. When the world mourned Princess Diana, few had forgotten the role Camilla played in the unraveling of what was supposed to be the most iconic royal marriage of modern times. Her affair with Charles had left deep scars, and while years of careful public relations efforts had softened the narrative, the truth had never entirely faded from memory. For many, Camilla had always symbolized the rigid aristocratic order, one where influence and privilege mattered more than morality. Now, with Carole's accusations making headlines, old wounds were reopened, questions resurfaced. Had Camilla ever truly changed, or was she still playing the same ruthless games behind closed doors, maneuvering her way into a position of power while pushing others aside? What made this renewed scrutiny even more damaging was its timing. The monarchy was already on fragile ground following Queen Elizabeth II's passing. The transition of power was delicate, and the institution could not afford another scandal. Yet Carole's remarks had ignited an unavoidable storm, forcing the public to re-examine Camilla's influence over King Charles. Whispers turned into headlines. Reports surfaced questioning whether Camilla had shaped Charles's decisions more than the public realized. Had her influence extended beyond what was appropriate for a queen consort? Had she subtly directed the course of the monarchy itself, ensuring that her position remained untouchable? The press dug deeper, uncovering stories that had long been buried. Financial dealings, preferential treatment, and an intricate web of power plays that had benefited those within Camilla's closest circle. The monarchy, already battling to maintain its relevance in a modern world, now faced an even greater challenge. The public was no longer blindly accepting the carefully crafted royal narrative. They were asking difficult, uncomfortable questions. Questions that put Camilla's legacy in jeopardy. The royal fallout inside Buckingham Palace. The effects of Carole's revelations were felt almost immediately. Prince William, caught between duty and loyalty, found himself at the center of a conflict he never expected. For years, he had maintained a delicate balance between his obligations as the future king and his devotion to his wife's family. But now that balance had been shattered, insiders described William's reaction as one of quiet frustration, not just at the explosive accusations, but at the impossible position he had been forced into. He knew his mother-in-law had spoken the truth, but acknowledging it publicly would mean openly challenging the very institution he was destined to lead. For Kate, the fallout was personal. Throughout her years in the royal family, she had navigated the complex dynamics with grace, always maintaining a polite, cordial relationship with Camilla. In the early years of her marriage, she had even sought guidance from the older woman, believing that as a fellow outsider who had endured relentless media scrutiny, Camilla might understand the challenges she faced. But now, with Carole's words, exposing everything Kate had silently endured, any illusions of mutual understanding were shattered. Beneath her poised exterior, those close to Kate saw the signs of growing disillusionment. She had always known that royal life came with sacrifices. But this, watching her mother face backlash for speaking an uncomfortable truth, seeing William struggle to walk the tightrope between love and loyalty, was a stark reminder of the cost of their position. And then there was King Charles. His response was swift but predictable: denial and deflection. To him, Carole's words were not just an attack on Camilla, they were an attack on the monarchy itself. He understood better than anyone that the institution's survival depended on unity and control. If cracks in the royal family became too visible, the entire structure could begin to crumble. But no amount of silence could undo the damage. The whispers of internal division were now out in the open, and the press wasted no time in capitalizing on the unfolding crisis. Speculation ran rampant. Would this tension affect William and Kate's future roles? Could the monarchy withstand yet another internal battle so soon after the death of its longest reigning monarch? Within the palace, damage control became the priority. Every effort was made to project an image of stability, but those closest to the situation knew better. The fractures were too deep, the wounds too fresh. For the first time in years, the royal family was facing a battle not just of public perception, but of survival itself. The war of influence between Carole and Camilla had erupted into something far greater than either woman could have predicted. The question was no longer about who held sway over the royal grandchildren, it was about the very future of the monarchy, and whether the institution, burdened by its past and struggling with its present, could survive the storm that had only just begun. A royal reckoning? The revelation from Carole Middleton sent shockwaves through the palace, igniting a crisis unlike anything seen before. For years, the monarchy had mastered the art of silence, letting time and tradition smooth over scandals. But this time, it was different. The public had grown restless, demanding transparency in an era where secrets could no longer be buried. The institution, once untouchable, now found itself struggling to control the narrative. As the controversy unfolded, the palace's response was predictable. Carefully worded statements emphasizing unity, brushing off Carole's claims as misunderstandings. But the usual tactics weren't working. The public wasn't willing to let this one fade into the background. Social media erupted, dividing opinions into fierce camps. Some championed Carole as a courageous figure who dared to challenge the rigid monarchy, a symbol of modern values and independence. Others criticized her for bringing internal matters into the open, arguing that the monarchy's strength lay in its discretion. The debate raged on, exposing a deeper struggle beyond personal conflicts. This was about more than just Carole and Camilla. It was a battle over the very essence of the monarchy. Could the institution evolve with the times, or was it doomed to collapse under the weight of outdated traditions? For the royal family, this was no ordinary scandal. It was an existential crisis. The palace's fight for control, Camilla, once unwavering in her public presence, suddenly began to fade from the spotlight. Royal engagements were quietly postponed, her appearances were reduced to only the most essential events. Those within the palace walls noticed a shift. Her usual confidence seemed to waver. The woman who had once faced relentless criticism with composure now appeared increasingly withdrawn. Meanwhile, Carole Middleton's influence surged. She had once been regarded as just the mother-in-law, a peripheral figure in royal affairs. Now, she had become a force to be reckoned with. Her words had struck a chord with many, and public sentiment began shifting in her favor. She was seen as a defender of family values, someone unafraid to challenge the elitism that had long defined the monarchy. Kate, too, found herself standing taller in the face of the turmoil. With her mother's support, she navigated the crisis with newfound resolve. No longer simply following royal protocol, she began shaping her role with more autonomy. For years, she had balanced tradition with modernity, carefully maintaining her position within the royal family. But now, as the institution wavered, she realized the opportunity before her, a chance to redefine what it meant to be a future queen. As Carole's influence rose, Camilla's power seemed to slip. The whispers within royal circles grew louder. Was the queen consort losing her grip? The monarchy had always relied on the strength of its image, and any sign of internal division threatened to shatter the carefully crafted illusion of unity. A house divided inside Buckingham Palace. The tension was palpable. Prince William, caught between his royal duty and personal loyalty, struggled to navigate the unfolding crisis. He had spent years carefully managing his role, walking the tightrope between upholding the monarchy and protecting his family. Now, with his mother-in-law's words making headlines, he faced an impossible position. He saw in Kate a rare ability to be both regal and relatable, something she herself had worked on for years. When Kate became a mother, the Queen's letters became even more personal. The Queen had just met, for the very first time, her first great-grandson. Of course, still baby Cambridge, because we don't know his name yet, who would one day take to the throne. She shared stories of raising Charles and Anne, offering advice on balancing royal responsibilities with family life. These heartfelt letters helped Kate navigate her own journey as a mother to George, Charlotte, and Louis. But the most significant letters came during the Queen's final summer at Balmoral in 2022. As Kate took special family photos of the Queen, with her great-grandchildren, she had no idea that she was holding on to the last pieces of guidance from the woman who had been shaping her future all along. Queen Elizabeth's secret letters, a plan for the future. In her final years, Queen Elizabeth carefully penned some of her most important messages, letters that weren't just personal notes, but a roadmap for the future of the monarchy. These letters revealed her deep trust in Kate Middleton and her vision for how the royal family should evolve. One of the letters focused on Kate's growing role in modernizing the monarchy. The Queen acknowledged Kate's natural ability to connect with people while still respecting tradition. "You understand what this generation needs from us," she wrote. "Your instincts about balancing tradition with progress are exactly right." She commended Kate's dedication to causes like early childhood development and mental health awareness, recognizing them as essential for keeping the royal family relevant in a changing world. Throughout her reign, Queen Elizabeth had always understood the importance of adapting to the times. She had seen the monarchy go through incredible shifts, from the rise of television to the digital age of social media. She knew that for the royal family to remain significant, it had to evolve. And she believed Kate was the perfect person to lead that transformation. But it was the Queen's final letter to Kate, written just weeks before her passing, that carried the most heartfelt message. Unlike her other letters filled with duty and responsibility, this one was personal. A grandmother's wisdom passed down with love. "Never forget that your strength comes from staying true to yourself," she wrote. I don't think the impact of the Queen's passing can ever really be overstated. I can imagine that tears are being shed the world over. I myself have already shed a few. I know that my family and friends in the UK are all devastated. It was a reminder that beyond the expectations of royal life, Kate's authenticity was her greatest asset. These letters, now a part of royal history, showed just how much Queen Elizabeth valued Kate, not just as the future queen consort, but as someone who could carry forward her legacy while also bringing fresh ideas into the royal family. The Queen had spent decades carefully shaping the monarchy, and she saw in Kate the ability to continue that work long after she was gone. However, these letters also hinted at an underlying tension within the palace walls. While Queen Elizabeth's guidance had been clear, not everyone in the royal family welcomed these changes. Behind the scenes, there were whispers of a quiet struggle between Kate and Queen Consort Camilla. As the monarchy faced a new chapter, a hidden rivalry was unfolding, one that would determine the future balance of power in the royal family. The hidden tension between Kate and Camilla. The public may see warm smiles and polite interactions, but behind closed doors, the relationship between Kate Middleton and Queen Consort Camilla has always been more complicated. Their differences did not just begin when Kate married into the royal family. They had been forming long before, during Camilla's early days as Prince Charles's wife. At royal events and formal dinners, Kate and Camilla often found themselves seated far apart, not just physically, but in their views on royal life. Camilla, shaped by years of experience and deep-rooted traditions, believed in following the old ways of the monarchy. Kate, on the other hand, had fresh ideas on how the royal family could connect with everyday people in a more modern and relatable way. Their contrasting backgrounds played a major role in their differing perspectives. Camilla came from a wealthy British family and had been surrounded by royalty for most of her life. She understood the monarchy's rigid structure and had spent years navigating its unspoken rules. Kate, however, had a completely different upbringing. Bucklebury, as you say, it's a very small, not so much a town, but a village. What you see behind me is pretty much it. All we have on this side of the road is the village pub and the local butchers. She was raised in a middle-class home where her mother, Carole Middleton, built a successful party supply business from scratch. While Kate's marriage to Prince William brought her into the royal world, she never forgot her humble beginnings. This shaped her belief that the monarchy needed to be more accessible and in touch with the people. The quiet tension between them grew stronger when Queen Elizabeth started showing special favor toward Kate. At royal events, the Queen often positioned Kate in prominent spots, while Camilla sometimes found herself in less noticeable places. The Queen's gestures, like lending Kate jewelry from her personal collection, did not go unnoticed. Small but significant signs of royal approval made it clear that the Queen saw Kate as a key figure in the future of the monarchy. Behind the scenes, palace staff observed distinct differences in how both women approached their royal duties. Camilla preferred traditional charity galas and formal engagements, maintaining the elegance and prestige of the monarchy. Kate, however, took a hands-on approach, dedicating herself to causes like early childhood development. Instead of sticking to royal formalities, she connected with people directly, sitting with children, speaking openly about emotions, and using her platform to promote meaningful change. This contrast created an unspoken competition for influence and attention within the royal family. As Kate's popularity grew and the Queen continued to guide her, Camilla found herself in a more uncertain position. The situation became even more complex in Queen Elizabeth's final years, as the monarchy prepared for a new era, one that would be shaped by the next generation of royals. Kate's quiet preparation for the crown continued. As Kate Middleton prepares for her future as Queen Consort, she is following the guidance of one of the greatest monarchs in history, Queen Elizabeth II. Unlike most royal spouses, Kate received special training early on. They claim Elizabeth changed her will before she passed, giving Kate the jewelry, collection, and perhaps not leaving any of the pieces for Camilla or Meghan Markle. The Queen's private secretary regularly sent her detailed notes on royal duties, traditions, and protocols, information usually reserved for future kings or queens. This level of preparation made it clear that Kate's role was going to be far more significant than anyone had expected. However, not everyone welcomed this special treatment. Camilla, who had spent years carving out her place in the royal family, was reportedly unsettled by the attention Kate was receiving. The unspoken rivalry between them reached new heights during the COVID-19 lockdowns. While Camilla stuck to traditional methods, formal phone calls, and carefully scripted video messages, Kate embraced a different approach. She used social media and casual video chats to connect with people, showing a more personal and modern side of the monarchy. Kate's efforts were widely praised. Her warmth and accessibility made the royal family feel more relatable during one of the hardest times in recent history. This stark contrast between their styles highlighted a deeper divide within the monarchy, one between the old way of doing things and the new. By the time of the Balmoral summit, this quiet competition had turned into a clear division between Kate and Camilla. Queen Elizabeth's private letters to Kate did not just reveal her plans for the monarchy's future, they also brought this long-standing tension into the open. Both women were now forced to face the reality of their shifting roles within the royal family. But this was not just a personal rivalry. It represented two competing visions for the future of the British monarchy. Would it continue to be bound by tradition, as Camilla believed? Or would it evolve to become more approachable and modern, as Kate envisioned? Long before Kate found herself at the center of royal life, she was just a university student living a normal life. Her journey to royalty began not in a palace, but in a classroom at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. She caught Prince William's attention not because of wealth or status, but because of her easygoing nature and warm personality. Their friendship blossomed over shared breakfasts, discussions about sports, and late-night study sessions. Kate was supportive, even sharing her class notes when William missed lectures. They were young, figuring out their lives, unaware that their connection would one day shape the future of the monarchy. What was your first impression? Well, when you said, I actually went bright red when I met you, and sort of scuttled off feeling very shy about meeting you, and actually William wasn't there. But Kate's path to becoming a princess was not always easy. As their relationship grew, so did the pressures of royal life. The media constantly scrutinized her, and she had to learn how to navigate the challenges that came with dating the future King of England. However, through it all, she remained grounded, proving time and time again why Queen Elizabeth had seen her as the future of the monarchy. Now, as she stands on the brink of history, Kate Middleton's rise is no longer just a love story. It is a testament to the quiet strength and careful planning that made her one of the most influential figures in the royal family today. Growing up in Berkshire, Kate Middleton faced her share of challenges. At her first school, Downhouse, she was teased by other kids for not coming from a rich royal family. Rather than letting these mean comments affect her, Kate decided to switch schools, enrolling at Marlborough College, where she excelled in both sports and academics. It was here that she discovered her passion for sports, something that would remain an important part of her life. Kate's mother, Carole Middleton, ran a party supplies business called Party Pieces. The company started in their kitchen and grew into a successful venture, providing the Middleton family with the means to give Kate and her siblings a solid education and plenty of opportunities. Growing up in a hard-working environment, Kate learned the value of perseverance and staying true to who you are. Even though life seemed to offer Kate many challenges, she learned to embrace them. While dating Prince William, the British press often did not treat her kindly. They called her Waity Katie, as if she were just waiting around for William to propose. What they did not realize was that Kate was quietly preparing herself for royal life. She studied the royal rules and began preparing for the role she might one day take on. During the early years of their relationship, life was not easy for Kate. The press followed her everywhere, and newspapers reported on every little thing she did. Despite the attention, she remained patient, focusing on her job as an accessories buyer for the fashion store Jigsaw. She tried her best to maintain a sense of normalcy despite the challenges of dating a future king. Then came the big change. Prince William proposed with his late mother, Princess Diana's iconic sapphire engagement ring. With that proposal, Kate stepped into royal life with a calm confidence, never trying to copy anyone, but instead bringing her own unique style to her royal duties. She focused on causes close to her heart, especially helping children and families. Issues that were important to her because of her own happy childhood. Prince William's posh friends weren't the only people who disparaged the Middletons for their middle-class background. The British press was arguably no better. What set Kate apart from others in the royal family was her steady and patient approach. She did not rush into making changes or seek attention. Instead, she took her time, learning little by little and earning the trust of the British people. She kept close ties with her family, never forgetting her roots, and maintained friendships from her school days. As a future queen, Kate continues to balance royal traditions with modern values. She drops her children off at school, shops at regular stores, and speaks openly about the challenges of being a parent. Her ability to mix everyday life with royal duties has made the monarchy feel more real and accessible to ordinary people. Kate's transformation into a future queen has captured hearts worldwide, showing that royal life can be both grounded and inspiring. Kate Middleton's journey as a royal has not been all glitz and glamour. Behind the scenes, she has faced challenges that tested her strength and shaped her into the person she is today. While the public sees the royal life full of events and celebrations, Kate's toughest moments happened away from the cameras. One of Kate's most significant struggles occurred during her pregnancies, when she battled a severe form of morning sickness known as hyperemesis gravidarum. The condition was so severe that she needed hospitalization, and it forced her to step back from royal duties. During this time, Kate had to focus on her health and missed key events, even struggling to take care of her son, Prince George. Her mother, Carole Middleton, moved in to help, ensuring Kate received the support she needed while she recovered.